political analyst. He studied in the United States. He once worked at the White House. He joins me now from Istanbul. Onur, first of all, have you slept? And if you did sleep, what time did you wake up and what was your immediate reaction?
I believe I slept between 5 a.m. till about 9 a.m. So the first reaction that I got, it was pretty much along the lines of what I thought it would turn out to be. I have been calling that with a slight margin, if it is, that the Trump would probably win this election as well.
What were you basing that on?
Many things, but I was kind of making this call when Biden's nomination was first confirmed. I'd said it would be fundamentally probably not easy for Americans to vote for a president that, if elected, his second term would be at an age of 82 years old. And most Americans are very used to continuing the presidential, their presidents, and they look kind of in a long-term view. So they probably would be hesitant to vote for a person that would only possibly practically do a one-term presidential, reign.
Yeah, absolutely. I was looking since the Second World War, which probably is the decades of America building up to its greatest moment of global hegemony. There have been 13 presidents, 6 have been re-elected, and of course JFK didn't get the chance, and Lyndon Johnson, he lost the election after he had inherited the presidency. He didn't get his second term after inheriting to complete JFK's first term. So Donald Trump would become the 7th president since the Second World War to be re-elected to a second term. What would that second term mean, first of all, from your experience of living and working in the United States, for Americans in that country? We'll come on to the international implications afterwards.
Well, having lived through the first presidential term of Donald Trump, if he does win this race, or when he does win this race, his second term would be, to lack of a better word, would be a lot of fun to watch, because Donald Trump has definitely been a atypical president, atypical diplomat in foreign relations. So when you're looking at a personality like this sitting in the presidential seat of the United States, when he won't have re-election concerns, it's just we could witness a lot of things, hopefully good things than bad things that he has done in his first term. But it would be a very surprising box of new things to open in the next 4 years if he gets re-elected.
Of course, there have been Republican presidents in the past, but Donald Trump appears possibly only to be a Republican in name only. He's so much more than that. One of the biggest and most contentious issues of his presidency has been the way he has spoken about white supremacy, about militia groups, about those who believe that they inhabit a very particular and privileged place in American society and want to preserve that privilege. We're talking about a small section of right-wingers, whether they carry guns or whether they wear suits and go to offices. Do you think that in the next 4 years, the right wing is going to increase its rhetoric, is going to increase its aggression towards those who don't believe what they believe? Because you think back to the Tea Party, which may have brought those right-wing Republicans even more to the right. And now you have Donald Trump, who you could say might even be even to the right of the Tea Party. So is it going to get even more?
I believe the term he used for them, the boys, that's a very concerning alley that he started to walk on. One can only hope that this was within the very boundaries of what a nominee would say on the election year. That once he wins the presidency, that he would kind of sway away from this ideology, because this would not only detrimentally hurt the domestic peace in the United States. I would be afraid that this would have broader and more international ramifications in the world. So we will wait to see, but I'm hoping that that's one of those, and very much right by the boundaries to things that he used to be able to secure the, as he would call it, the boys' votes across the United States, especially where he needed the most in the swing states.
Okay, this hegemony that I mentioned. Okay, if you consider since the end of the Second World War and how the United States, from being a lead player in a bipolar world, is now pretty much, apart from China, a singular hegemon. China still to make that sort of impact on the global stage as the Americans have been making. Do you think possibly that the United States in 2016, with the election of Donald Trump as the 45th president of the United States 4 years ago, reached the zenith of its global hegemony? Because in the 45th president of the United States, we have a man who admits that he doesn't like the multilateral system and has been slowly reducing American influence within a whole load of international spheres.
Well, I could give a lot of examples, but just let me just give you a little example from what Trump said in Syria about pulling out all the troops and just leaving that area to itself. Obviously, he wasn't able to do that. There's a lot of comments about that the Pentagon didn't let him do it. For whatever it was, we see that Trump's idea of where or how the United States should police the world, as a term that they would use, is different than the last 100 years of the American policy, especially across the world when it comes to American interests. So I doubt. I think this is something Obama said back in the day when he first, after his election, when he first visited Turkey, that the United States foreign diplomacy is like a huge ship. No matter how much you try to steer as the captain, you will not discourse it from its target. So yes, Trump has tried to do some things. He will probably try to do some things in his next term if he gets reelected. But as to the main goal of the United States ideology that it has been running for the last 100 years, I don't think he's going to be able to steer it that much. And also the fact that if you look at the last 100 years of the ideology of the foreign diplomacy of the United States, it was basically based on a big opponent like Russia, where it was mostly demonized by the U.S. presidents and the U.S. By U.S. public. Now that that threat is gone, maybe, and this is something that Trump also likes because of him being so pragmatic when it comes to economical issues, that the new demon for the United States would be China, and build a rhetoric around that. So we'll see. I know that Trump is a little bit away from what we are used to as American policy when it comes to foreign relations, but I don't know how much that would affect what's been going on for the last 100 years in D.C. towards the outside world.
Onur, we always appreciate your presence on TRT World. Thank you so much indeed, Onur Erim, with his view